knowing that you've been doing great work. That is why silently we also came back to Ogun State. We had left before. Honestly, we had left before, but right now we are back in full force.
In the evolving story of Nigeria's industrial transformation, one name consistently stands out: Aliko Dangote. Africa's richest man has never hidden his ambition to redefine the continent's position in global trade and manufacturing. From cement to sugar, from petrochemicals to petroleum refining, his empire represents not just private wealth, but a vision for a self-sufficient Africa. Now, Dangote is taking yet another audacious step, building Nigeria's largest and deepest seaport in Olokola, Ogun State. In late June 2025, the Dangote Group submitted official paperwork to the Nigerian government to construct a deep sea port in the Olokola Free Trade Zone. Strategically located along Nigeria's southwestern coast, about 100 kilometres from the Dangote Refinery and Fertilizer plants in Lagos, the proposed Olokola Deep Seaport is designed to be a logistics and export game-changer for Nigeria and West Africa at large. The project had previously been shelved under earlier administrations due to regulatory delays and political transitions, but it has now been revived under Governor Dapo Abiodun's administration, which has prioritized investor-friendly reforms and industrial partnerships.
I need to have it on record that the factory we're visiting now, Itori, it was because of His Excellency that we came back. That factory was demolished twice. We started building, Onamosu demolished it. The second time we restarted again, he demolished not only the factory, including the fencing. So we left. But right now, we're coming back of His Excellency, my brother, Prince Dapo Abiodun. We are now back. When we go there, you will be very surprised.
The strategic importance of the Olokola Deep Seaport. At the heart of Dangote's plan is a strategic logic that connects his industrial ecosystem, refining, petrochemicals, fertilizers, logistics and exports, into one vertically integrated chain. The Dangote Industrial Complex in Lekki, Lagos, is already the largest single industrial investment in Africa. It includes a 650,000 barrel per day refinery, a world-class petrochemical complex, and one of the world's largest fertilizer plants. These facilities produce massive volumes of refined petroleum, polyethylene, polypropylene, and urea, all essential materials for domestic and international markets. But there's a major constraint: shipping and export logistics. Lagos's traditional ports, Apapa and Tin Can, are chronically congested. Every day, hundreds of container trucks crawl through narrow roads, causing gridlock and delays that inflate logistics costs and cut into profits. Dangote's own products, from fertilizer to diesel, rely on these same bottlenecked routes to reach export terminals. By constructing a dedicated deep-sea port in Olokola, Dangote intends to eliminate dependence on Lagos ports, reduce shipping times, and drastically lower export costs. The proposed location, just outside Ogun's coast, offers naturally deep waters, ideal for large, ocean-going vessels that can carry more cargo per voyage, reducing both fuel costs and turnaround time. In essence, the Olokola Deep Seaport would give Dangote direct control over his export chain, from factory floor to shipping dock, a strategic move that allows him to bypass bureaucratic delays, ensure quality logistics, and maximize efficiency. Linking fertilizer, gas, and LNG to global markets. The port's design is not just about moving goods, it's about enabling new industries. Dangote's fertilizer and urea production already supply much of West Africa and parts of South America. But future ambitions go further, into the liquefied natural gas, LNG, market. Exporting LNG requires complex infrastructure: pipelines, gas processing facilities, cryogenic storage, and special tankers. The Olokola Free Trade Zone sits in a geographically advantageous position between Nigeria's gas-rich Niger Delta and the open Atlantic. By linking gas pipelines from the Delta to Olokola, Dangote can process, liquefy, and export gas directly from Nigeria's coast, reducing reliance on foreign terminals. This vision is consistent with Nigeria's broader energy diversification agenda. As global demand for cleaner energy grows, LNG exports represent a lucrative opportunity. A port purpose-built for LNG exports would position Dangote, and by extension Nigeria, as a key player in the global natural gas supply chain. In the same way, fertilizer exports, which already generate billions of dollars annually, would benefit from faster turnaround, larger vessels, and lower shipping costs. Instead of routing fertilizer through congested Lagos terminals, products could move directly through the Olokola port to markets in Latin America, Europe, and Asia. The revival of an old dream. Interestingly, the idea of a deep sea port in Olokola is not new. The project was first proposed nearly 2 decades ago under the Olusegun Obasanjo administration. It was meant to serve as a joint development between Ogun and Ondo states, providing both regions access to the Atlantic coast for trade and industry. However, political disagreements, ownership disputes, and funding challenges stalled the project for years. Now, under Governor Dapo Abiodun, the Ogun State government is revisiting the vision with renewed vigor. Improved federal cooperation, better infrastructure financing models, and Dangote's immense industrial momentum have breathed new life into the idea. The government has identified the Olokola project as a flagship under its Gateway Industrial and Logistics Corridor, designed to turn Ogun into a manufacturing and export hub adjacent to Lagos. For Ogun State, the implications are transformative. The Seaport project would not only attract direct investment, but also spur industrial clusters, housing estates, pipelines, power plants, and transport corridors. Thousands of new jobs could be created during the construction phase alone, followed by thousands more in logistics, shipping, and trade operations once the port becomes operational. For local communities, that means more opportunities for employment, trade, and small business growth. For the state, it means more revenue from taxes, land use, and port operations, strengthening Ogun's economy and reducing dependence on federal allocations. Dangote's expanding global footprint. To understand why Dangote's port project is so important, we must look at the broader context of his company's expanding global reach. In August 2025, the Dangote Refinery achieved a historic milestone, exporting its first shipment of refined petrol to the United States. Roughly 320,000 barrels of gasoline left the refinery's jetty in Lekki, bound for New Jersey, USA. What made this moment extraordinary was not just the destination, but the quality of the product. The fuel met US environmental and regulatory standards, some of the toughest in the world. That achievement marked a new chapter for Nigeria. For the first time, a Nigerian refinery produced fuel pure enough for the American market. This event wasn't just symbolic, it proved that Nigeria could move up the value chain from crude oil exporter to refined product exporter. It also meant foreign exchange earnings, more jobs, and stronger energy security at home. But it also raised questions. Would this export focus tighten domestic fuel supply? Could exports cause local pump prices to rise? For a country where fuel affordability is politically sensitive, these are important debates. Still, the export marks a turning point. It shows that Nigerian industries can compete at world-class levels when properly managed and funded.
The 650,000 barrels per day that we've done is the largest single train, not only in Africa, in the world. And we just wanted to make a point, and which we have now achieved.
The CNG revolution, greening the logistics chain. While the refinery made headlines, another quieter revolution was happening in Dangote's logistics division. The rollout of 4,000 compressed natural gas (CNG) trucks for fuel distribution across Nigeria. This, Droza's $720 billion investment, signals a serious shift toward cleaner, more efficient transport. Traditionally, Nigeria's distribution network has depended on diesel-powered trucks, which are expensive to run and emit high levels of pollution. CNG trucks, by contrast, are cheaper to operate, cleaner for the environment, and more reliable over long distances. The switch to CNG can reduce fuel costs by up to 40% per kilometre, lower carbon emissions, and improve energy efficiency. The Dangote Group isn't stopping there. Dangote Cement plans to convert over 7,000 of its trucks to CNG by the end of 2026, while new CNG fueling stations and maintenance facilities are being rolled out nationwide. This move creates a closed-loop logistics system. Dangote refines the fuel, transports it using his own trucks, and delivers it to filling stations across Nigeria. This reduces dependence on middlemen, lowers transport losses, and ensures more stable fuel supply, all while contributing to Nigeria's climate commitments. Of course, the shift isn't without friction. Labour unions like NUPENG have expressed concerns about potential job losses or monopolistic control. Dangote, however, insists that the CNG program will create thousands of new jobs in driving, logistics, fueling and maintenance, and reduce Nigeria's long-term dependence on imported diesel. When viewed together, the refinery exports, the CNG truck rollout, and the proposed Olokola Deep Seaport, these developments tell a coherent story of strategic integration. Each project strengthens the others. 1. The refinery produces high-quality gasoline, diesel, and petrochemicals for both domestic and export markets. 2. The CNG truck fleet ensures efficient, clean, and reliable delivery of these products across Nigeria. 3. The Deep Seaport will provide a direct maritime gateway for large-scale export of refined fuel, fertilizer, petrochemicals, and LNG to global markets. The result is a self-reinforcing industrial ecosystem, one that cuts out inefficiencies, retains more value within Nigeria, and ensures sustainability from production to distribution. This model also embodies Dangote's philosophy: control the value chain from start to finish. By managing production, logistics, and exports in-house, the company reduces exposure to external shocks, corruption, and inefficiencies that have long plagued Nigeria's economy. Economic and environmental implications. The benefits of this ecosystem extend beyond corporate profit. For Nigeria, it could mean reduced import dependency. Locally refined fuels mean less need to import, saving billions in foreign exchange. Improved balance of trade. Exporting refined fuel and fertilizer generates foreign revenue instead of draining reserves. Infrastructure expansion. Roads, power lines, pipelines, and housing developments spring up around these industrial zones. Job creation. Thousands of new positions open up in construction, manufacturing, logistics, and services. Environmental benefits. CNG trucks and modern refinery standards help lower Nigeria's carbon footprint. For Ogun State specifically, the seaport promises to turn the state into a logistics powerhouse, complementing Lagos while easing its congestion. Businesses that once clustered in Lagos may begin migrating to Ogun's coastal corridor, spurring new real estate, warehousing, and manufacturing growth. Still, such mega projects come with real challenges. Financing is one. Deep-sea ports require multi-billion-dollar investment, dredging, and long-term commitments. Infrastructure, especially road and rail access, must be developed simultaneously, or the port risks becoming underutilized. Environmental management is also crucial. Coastal projects can disrupt fragile ecosystems if not properly planned. Community inclusion and fair compensation for land acquisition are equally important for long-term social stability. Finally, Nigeria's regulatory environment must remain consistent and transparent. Political interference or sudden policy reversals can discourage investors and slow progress. The proposed Olokola Deep Seaport is more than a port. It is a symbol of what Nigeria could become: an industrialized, export-driven economy led by innovation and self-reliance. When viewed alongside Dangote's refinery exports to the US and his deployment of CNG trucks, it becomes clear that the billionaire's vision extends far beyond business. It is about creating a new industrial ecosystem, one that links energy, transport, and trade into a single productive loop. If these projects are executed transparently and sustainably, Nigeria could finally break free from decades of dependency on raw exports and fuel imports. Ogun could emerge as the new face of industrial Nigeria, home to Africa's largest refinery, deepest port, and cleanest logistics network. The pieces are on the board. The vision is clear. What remains is execution, and time will tell if the Olokola Deep Seaport becomes the cornerstone of Nigeria's long-awaited industrial renaissance.